How are you guys? Well, I've started getting into those electronics kits that you buy from eBay, the amplifiers and this, that and the other. And a friend of mine gave me this old headphone amp here, and there was a few parts on the main board to it that were gone, so I'm decided to turn it into a power amplifier on the TDA2030A chip, which is 27 watts a channel at 4 ohms. Now, to give you some idea what 27 watts is, how loud it would be, average computer speakers are about 3 watts a channel. So even though this is going to be a very small amp, it should sound pretty loud. And I've already started on the circuit board there. What I normally do with these kits is put all the small stuff in first. Got a long way to go yet, but you know, making some progress with that. And as I say, I've modified this B-Tech headphone amp case, or chassis if you will, so I can mount this board in here when it's all done. There's the back of it. The way I'm going to mount it is there, like that. I've just drilled out that last hole there because it didn't quite fit. So now I've done that, it will fit onto them 2 mounting holes. And on the back of the case of the headphone amp, I've fitted 2 banana terminal jack plugs, or speaker sockets. And there's going to be a line input that goes into the amplifier. That'll be a phono type, and that's where the DC power socket will be. So yeah, I've just fitted them in there. I'd rather use banana plugs than bare wire because it's just a pain in the backside, keep disconnecting the wires, isn't it? So I'm going to start building all these different amplifiers, you know, and build a collection up of them. But this is the first one I'm starting on. I have done these kits years ago, I mean, God, going back to the 80s, you know, from Tandy's, which isn't even going anymore. But yeah, I enjoy doing these, you know, keeps me mind occupied and that. And this is the stuff I use for the small, I don't use regular solder, I use this for the small stuff. This is easy print solder paste. And in a minute I can show you how this works. There's plenty of videos on YouTube showing you how this stuff works, but it's a fairly new thing. And basically you use your heat gun there, which is that one, 858D. You can pick these up for about 30 quid on eBay, and I highly recommend these if you're doing any surface mount soldering like I'm going to be doing with this, you know. But I keep the fan really low because you don't want it blowing the solder all over the place. But yeah, these are really nice, and they're not that expensive. Like I say, the dearest one I've seen on there is 30 quid, but yes, they're great. As I haven't got a tripod anymore, it broke. I don't know how I'm going to mount the camera to show you what I'm doing here, but I'll try my best. This is the parts in the bag. There's no instructions, so you better know your electronics if you're going to do one of these. There's no instructions whatsoever. You just got the circuit board. It's pretty self-explanatory as long as you know your basic electronics. Like, I mean, I've been doing it since the 80s, so late 80s. So the chips themselves, or the modules themselves, are TD2030A. These are above, they are higher spec than the 2030. They've got a higher wattage rating. You've got 2 fairly nice heat-sinks in there to dissipate the heat. I have got some thermal compound from my computer. I brought a load of it last year, some quality grey stuff, so I'll be using that for this. The capacitors that come with this kit, they aren't great, but they should do the job until I upgrade them to Nichicon. The ones that are here, I don't think they're even branded. Chang, whoever they are, I've never heard of them. But they should do. I'll be replacing that one anyway. Let's have a look what the value is on that one. Is that 20? Yeah, it's 2200 microfarad at 25 volts. I'm going to be changing that to 3300 microfarad at 50 volts, sorry. A 3300 microfarad at 50 volts, yeah. The way I'm mounting this circuit board in this case, there will be room to do that anyway. But that's the main power filter capacitor. I'm not going to put a cheap one in there. It says vent on the side, and trust me, that's all these things do. After a few months you start crapping out at the top there and venting all over the place, because these really are nasty capacitors. So either Nichicon or Panasonic are my capacitors of choice for amplifiers. Sanyo, I've made a few good ones, but their older stuff is terrible. So anyway, that's going to be replaced with a, I think the one I've got's a Panasonic. I'll have to have a look at my parts bin. Like I say, these are all the parts that come in there. Though the LED is going to have to be changed from a 5mm to a 3mm, because at the front of the case there's a mounting hole for a 3mm one. So the 5 isn't going to fit in there, so I think I've got one of them knocking around somewhere. But yeah, these are all the parts, and if you do this kit, you know, if it's the first time building one of these kits, just take your time and just study things. You know, get your multimeter out and test the components, because don't just take the word for it that they're all in tolerance just because it's a new kit, because sometimes they aren't. I've had a couple of resistors before that have been way out of spec, even a new kit. So just make sure you test things first on your multimeter before you fit them. But these few parts that I've put in here in a moment, the small stuff, I've got a lot more resistors to fit. This has been done with the solder paste, and it makes a lovely neat job, you know, for this small stuff. It's designed for surface mounting components, this, not through hole, but you know, you can use it for through hole stuff. It's very good. You know, you just put your tire gun on it, and I set that to 300 degrees and or 290, something like that, and it just melts into place. It can make a bit of a mess on the board, but I always clean the board with isopropyl alcohol anyway, with the toothbrush, to get all the crap off after I've done my soldering. So I'm going to get cracking now and get some of these parts soldered on here, as many as I can. Trying to find a way of mounting my camera somewhere so I can show you the solder paste working. Oh, in fact, no, I'll be okay, but I'll be hold it in one hand and then do it with the other. So I'll get onto that now. I'll put a few parts in there and I'll show you. As I say, it does make a bit of a mess. It does leave like a gooey mess on the back of the circuit board, but it's not permanent, and it does come off with alcohol. And if you haven't got alcohol, use white spirits and a toothbrush. That will get it off. Don't use anything just plain water based, because you don't want to be damaging anything. Just use alcohol or white spirits, as I say. So I'll get onto it now and get some of these parts soldered on here, and I'll show you how it's done. Also, a quick note I will mention before I do start doing this is, due to the way this circuit board's going to be mounted in the case, there's the ground. They're the two ground pins there that are going to be soldered down to ground the board. The third one isn't connected, but it doesn't matter because them two are. Anyway, I won't be mounting the volume control, which is a 50k pot. I won't be mounting it directly on the PCB. As you can see, I've mounted it there, and I shall be doing some point-to-point wiring from there to there. It will fit there physically, but if I do solder it in like that, the speaker sockets at the back will hit the heatsink, so it won't be able to fit the board in. So I'm going to be doing it like that, fixing that down. And the kit does come with some screw terminals for the wires. I won't be fitting them either. I'll be hard soldering the wires in place. Simple reason is it's going to be a completely permanent fixture, and it's not going to be took apart again once it's built. So I'll be doing hard soldering. I've got a load of wire that I've ordered a few weeks ago, as I said in my last video, so I'm going to be hard wiring them wires in there. Let's get my pointing tool out, aka the probe from my meter. These here, these are the speaker terminals, and unlike, I'm pretty sure that because this is not a Class D amplifier, this is a Class AB amplifier, you can use a common ground with the speaker terminals and join those together. You can't do that on a Class D. Don't ever do that, because you'll blow the chip up. But because this is a Class AB amp, you can ground the two negative terminals together, which would be that one and that one. if you wanted to. You don't have to. I'm going to use separate wires anyway, but you could do that if you wanted, because these are designed to be grounded to the metal chassis anyway. This is why I recommend you build these into a metal chassis and not a plastic one, because of the ground, and that way you've got the whole case as a ground for the whole circuit. As you can see, I've mounted a couple of I think they're 10 nanofarad or 100 nanofarad, aren't they? 104, and these are the resistors here. So as I say, I should be getting cracking now and fitting the rest of these resistors in. I'll put the camera somewhere so you can see what I'm doing. As I say, I haven't got my tripod, so let's get cracking. Most people use a template when they're doing this sort of soldering with this solder paste, but obviously I haven't got a template for this circuit board in general. So what I'm going to be doing is just putting a small blob onto each terminal, and this is really hard to do on the camera, but I'll have a go. There you go, one blob there, and one there. Oh, I made a bit of a mess there. Still, it'll clean off. Put that aside for a second. Switch my hot air gun on. Wait till that get up to. Let's put that on 300. On the safe side. Turn the fan right the way down, because you don't want it blowing it all over the place. So here we go. Just a matter of taking your time. That's as close as I can get with this camera, I think. Let's try it from this angle. You can see if you keep working this around, there we go. You can see there it's starting to melt. You see? That's it. That's that one soldered. See, it automatically corrects itself anyway if you spill any. Now onto this one. See? That's grabbed, that's done. Simple as that. That's the magic of heat gun soldering. Saves you doing damage to the PCB or whatever you're working on, and damaging it with heat or whatever, because you know it's only on there for a few seconds and it melts. But there, as you can see, it makes a really nice job. Okay. Right, let's get the rest of these parts mounted and I'll carry on with this. Here's another tip as well. When you've fitted your parts in there and you break off the leads, save them and put them in a little plastic bag, because these are ideal to be used as jumper wires. Certain PCBs in the circuit need jumper wires, and if you haven't got them, you're stuck really. Instead of using a piece of wire, you can use these. So there's a top tip for you. Just save them and put them in a little plastic bag. As you can see, it does make a very nice job of the joints. Let's get it from this angle. It's just a good idea to use this if you're working in spaces that's very tight, you know, instead of going your soldering iron out. Apologies for the noise in the background, but that's the fan on the air gun. You can see if you turn this up, that's how it's like a rocket. You don't want it that high, trust me. I don't know why it goes that fast, I'm sure. Anyway, just having a look at my capacitor stash, see if you can find any that I can use. found a couple of Chemicon caps out of a 35-year-old amp, so if they've lasted that long, them are the ones I'm going to be using. They must be good. The Nippon Chemicon, really good capacitors these. That's the one I'm going to be fitting in the power stage. That's a Matsushita with that M symbol, so that's a Panasonic. That's a new cap, and I put these wires on ready to fit in there. These are all new as well. These are Nichicon. Wrong value though. Well, I've found 4 matching Nippon Chemicon 47 microfarad caps, so they're the ones that I'm going to be putting there, there, there and there. And there's one 4.7 in the middle. As long as they're rated at least 25 volts, I'm all good to go. So I can get them fitted now in there. There's 1 or 2 others in there in this box of tricks I've saved over the years. There's a few Sanyos. I don't really want to put Sanyo in. Quite a few Nippon Chemicons, so I'll be using them I think for this, and use the Panasonic one for the main power filter. Well, that's a right bummer, that is. I can't use them because of the hole spacing. The lead spacing is so different they won't fit. So I'll have to use the ones that come with the kit. Oh well. As long as that main filter one's changed, we should all be good to go. I have found some LEDs that I brought the other week, so they can go in there as well. Right, let's get cracking. Enough talk. Well, that's pretty much everything soldered there to the board. As I say, I'm not fitting them sockets there because it's going to be hardwired into the speaker terminals and into the jacks. But there's one thing I'm pleased about with this, is these are the proper ST modules by ST Electronics, these 2030A chips. You usually find that with these kits that you buy from Hong Kong and China and what have you, they're normally fake, but them are the originals, the real thing. So I'm pleased about that. So in the next video I'll get all this fit together, get it all put together in that chassis there what I'm sorting out at the moment, and I'll show it you all working and everything. So thanks very much for watching, and the next video should be about 5 minutes long or something like that, just showing you everything working. So once again, thanks for watching. Any comments, leave them in the comments box below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, thank you.